NXT. 2 days removed. The premium. I gotta get used. I botched this earlier because I started laughing about premium live events. I gotta get used to saying it because everybody say premium live events, even though it's pay-per-view. Vince just wants something new and hip to say. He just didn't want to have the old boring way of saying pay-per-view, because look what AEW still does. Pay-per-view. What does Impact does? Pay-per-view. What does NWA do? Pay-per-view. It's just their way of sounding different. But let's make this clear. Next to my nose itching and I want to sneeze. This was pissed off. You can see the title. I already wrote it. This was a pissed off show. Everybody there almost completely pissed off about something. One thing or another. Now, I gotta admit, I missed one match because I went to the toilet and I'll talk about it. But if I'm right, there wasn't that much to miss. But I missed one match because I had to go to the bathroom. When I went and came back within a few minutes, it was over. So I didn't really know what happened. Let's move to the opening of the show. We're going to do JC James and Valkyria. Let's get this over with. What did we really get with Valkyria dealing with JC James? What did we get? Nothing. There wasn't a very strong feud going into in the first place. And then, even though you did literally, which was stupid, bring Rhea Ripley to NXT. Guys, NXT did not need Rhea Ripley there. She's not supposed to be there. Which it devaluates everything JC James and Valkyria did. It did. If they were at a premium live event, and it was not just Raw, SmackDown, but NXT, you can understand there being something there. And if you're going to bring a Rhea Ripley to an NXT, which she's not supposed to, only at a premium live event she should be there. And now she's there practically every day, which devaluates the entire women's roster. Literally. Why do I care about the women there if the main title holder, which is Rhea Ripley, not Asuka and Rhea Ripley because where's Asuka? She's not as important as Rhea. Let's make that clear. It devaluates everything. And this match meant nothing. Yeah, Rhea told her, get the job done, which she did. But what did it really give Aliyah Valkyria, who was never really felt important in the first place because her gimmick wasn't that great? Because at the time, we had Valkyria, we had Alba, Fire, Isla, Dawn, 3 women who were mythical creatures in a sense, because, well, you had one that was a witch, one that was a fire eater, and now you had one that did the mythical thing of the wings. And she didn't feel unique. She just didn't. So when you see this situation, I don't think she gained anything. Let's move on. Dijak versus Peter Thorpe. Now, I don't know if this is going to lead anywhere. Was it a bad match? No. It was alright. Dijak can have a great match with many people. And Thorpe isn't that bad of a wrestler, so there was not much of a problem. But what was the story? Nothing. Dijak didn't like that NXT Underground happened. And Thorpe thought he was that tough. Didn't feel important. If you had to use NXT Underground to start a feud between Dijak and Peter Thorpe, you got a major problem. Because that was already flawed as it was. I'm sorry, it was. So the match was done. Dijak did win. And it wasn't that bad of a match. I'm not going to tell you it was. But, well, let's make this clear. I didn't say how good the match between JC James and Valkyria was. It was kind of off. Here was fine. I had no problem. But also it didn't lead anywhere. Unless you're going to continue the feud between the two and make it important, like maybe with a stipulation. There's nothing there. Now, this was the match I missed. I forgot Fadal and Lauren versus Vice and Elektra Lopez. Now, the only person I really cared about was Elektra Lopez. The girl has something. Yes, I know. Many people would say, yes, she got something. She got like that. Yeah, I know. Anybody, man or woman, is going to look at her body and say they want to do something naughty to it. But she did work with Delgado she worked with the guys in NWA. I've forgotten the name of it already. Delgado El Fantasma. There you go. I believe that's it. And she did a good job as their mouthpiece. So I know she can talk well. She's an okay wrestler in the ring. She's not very great, but she's okay. That was the only person I cared about there. But since I had to go to the bathroom, it was maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Maybe 3. I went and did my business, came back, and it was over. So I don't know who won. If I had to take a guess, if I remember correctly, you did have Vice now working with Lopez, if I remember correctly. Because they don't show these women all the time. So my guess is maybe they won. It would make the best sense because they are trying to pair them together. But here's the thing. Doing tag team matches when there is no tag team belts is stupid. Look, when it comes to... I still cannot understand. You combine the NXT belts with the world titles. You did. You currently have 2 women and Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville that should be going from NXT, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Where have they stayed? Raw. Pretty much, generally that's where they've been. So it was just, why do we care about women's tag team wrestling now when there's no tag teams at all? Because there's no tag team belts. You can tag them together, but now there's no belts. I'm not saying it was great, but Chance and Carter, at least they were a real tag team that felt legitimate. And now they're on the main roster and they're going to do nothing there. I'm just saying, let's move on. Let's skip and go to Baron Corbin and Andre Chase. Now, we did see that Thea Hall was pissed because she didn't tap out. She rather had passed out, and Andre prevented her from doing that by throwing in the towel, and she was not happy about that. And then Baron Corbin came out, and he made it very clear, little girl, why are you here? You had your shot and you failed. Get the hell out of here. And Andre saying, we have time. We're doing this interview. Don't be disrespecting her. And she's flicking him off because she doesn't want nothing to do with him. And then we get this match. Thea was at ringside along with Duke. And it was obvious. She did not feel it. She didn't care. It didn't matter to her. At least until she decided, once Andre was in trouble, that she wanted to give him the same opportunity. She threw in the towel. But the ref didn't see it. And Baron Corbin threw it back at her. And you know what she did? She decided to walk away. And then Andre got his ass handed to him. Not surprised. The only way this is going to make sense, only one way. Dempsey and Drew must take her in, and she now works with them. And then Chase U gets a new female. It's the only way. It's the only thing you can do now. Because if you just make her feel happy again and let her go back, would be a big waste of time. What was the point of all of that in a match that was okay for her, as well as Tiffany Stratton, I'll get to her in a minute, until the end when it looked like crap, because Tiffany didn't know what she was doing. Thea Hall didn't know what she was doing. Hale, not Hall. Thea Hale was not knowing what she was doing at the end. Instead of passing out, they decided to do this. It was just terrible around. Now, Tiffany, she had a tip talk. And I know I'm saying tit toff, because I don't care about TikTok. It's a tip toff. You know why? Because we get to see off the makeup. She literally is there. You get to see a Tiffany Stratton without a makeup. which was stupid. I'm going to be honest here. I'm sorry. We have in front of us a Tiffany Stratton, who is the current NXT champion, who has been badly overshadowed by Rhea Ripley. Let's make this clear. Tiffany Stratton has been heavily overshadowed by Rhea. That's what the deal is right now. We barely even care about her as long as Rhea's there. Rhea's there. Where have you seen Tiffany? You have not. None of it. The only thing that mattered was the world champion. That's it. So we just saw a TikTok of someone trying to put over herself and Thea Hall and telling people I'm going to be coming back soon. And I had to struggle and my arm was hurting. And she's been without makeup, trying to look raw. I'm sorry. Tiffany is literally the second coming of Mandy Rose. You don't see Mandy without any makeup. And if you do see Mandy without makeup, she's in a fucking bikini. She's in a damn bikini, showing total sexuality. Showing not only that she's freaking sexy, that a guy would do anything to get her in bed. A woman would do anything to get her in bed and wine her and dine her on top of that, because most men would not wine and dine. They would just get her in bed. A few would. I probably would. I probably feel too embarrassed, but I would. I'm a shy person. But I would do whatever I can to make her feel comfortable, to make her happy. Any women looking, I'm like that. Maybe I'm a romantic, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this was longer and more important than Tiffany Stratton putting on her makeup, and at the end of it, she finally got her makeup on. That was stupid. You want to make her feel strong. You want to make her feel special. You want to make her feel sexual. That's what you made Tiffany. But then you made sure she did a TikTok with no makeup on, trying to put herself over. And it was stupid. I'm sorry. That's what it felt. Let's move on to Mommy and Dirty Dom dealing with Dragon Lee. I knew Dragon was going to come out because of what happened last week. I knew Dragon was eventually going to ask for that damn title shot. He wants one. He's got one. But instead of having a woman that might gain something from this, and I thought they would use someone in the back. Another woman to deal with a Rhea Ripley. Yes, if Nikita Lyons was coming back, I don't think she's ready yet. Neither is, I think, Wendy Chu is hurt. I don't know. She might just sit in the back. And I know Rika, the one I like a lot, that really needs to work more on being a pro wrestler than a gymnast. She's not back for until maybe next year. I thought you used one of these women. Hell, wouldn't it have been better to have Elektra Lopez there? She's about the same size as a Rhea Ripley. That would make sense. No, you bring Ray. Now, many people say, dude, that's perfect. Bring Ray in doing this. No. Ray's supposed to be on SmackDown. And again, we have so many people jumping from one show to another that's not a free agent. Remember, if anybody says, I don't understand what you're saying, listen to me. Don't say below, I don't understand. Listen to what I'm saying. The beginning of this year, we were told by the company, not Triple H, this company, WWE, they're doing the draft. Whether you like it or not, there was going to be people that would be exclusive to Raw, SmackDown, and then there would be free agents in between that would jump back and forth into maybe NXT. You had people in NXT taking off the damn roster, putting the free agency and some on the main roster, which they have not been seen yet. It's been months. Then you got the people who are the general people who are supposed to just be on the main shows. And what has happened? We've seen them on Raw. We've seen them jump to SmackDown. And now we're seeing Judgment Day, the most strongest group they have, other than when the Bloodline was running, is on NXT. It is a freaking mess. I want to see the developmental people get developed if you keep throwing people that is on the other roster that once in a while, like what happened with New Day last year or the beginning of this year, where the New Day was there to help put over some of these younger talents, where it could help them, where they would stay on NXT, not jump back to the main roster. But unfortunately, New Day didn't stay on NXT. They kept jumping back to SmackDown, which was stupid. They should have stayed on NXT and helped, like Apollo Crews was there. That would have made sense. Yes, Dana Brooke being there, if she was there and stayed there for a while and got developed. Yes, even Baron Corbin staying there for a while and get developed. No, they're just jumping everywhere, and it makes the show feel screwed up, like someone has been ordering it. What have I been fucking telling you all? And for someone who doesn't get it, if you didn't hear me, I'm going to tell you, go look at the video again. If you say, I still don't understand, listen to what I said. The company told us there would be a brand split. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, with people that would be exclusive to jump back and forth. You're using everyone that they care about on the exclusive shows, and rarely are they showing anyone at NXT that needs to learn. Let's go to Wesley, Mello, Nolan Dar, and Oba Mensah. I always get Oba Mensah's last name, but now for once I got it right. We got an incident in the back, which led to this match. Now, I don't really need to talk that much about it, but I am going to say this. Seeing that Wesley is pissed off, I'm not surprised. But here's the question, and I will get to the match in a minute. How far are they going to go with Wes? Because I'm worried that Wes is going to go from here, before he got that title, here, got here, and now he's going like this. I'm worried that he will end up in the back and disappear. If he's not thrown on the main roster and then disappear at catering like everybody else has been brought up, he'll sit in the back and be stuck there. But the match itself was good, but this was not about anything but Wesley being pissed. This was not about metaphor. Even though we did see Lash Legend try to take the head off of Carmelo Hayes, which surprised me, like, what you trying to do, woman? Or was it Wes? Either Wes or Carmelo Hayes. She tried to take his head off. And that's okay. Even though if she had been wearing pants, it would have been better. But she's wearing a silver dress that she had to keep pulling it down to try and let Norton be seen, which everybody knows who's at ringside. They probably saw a little bit more and probably almost a little bit of panty when the camera moved away, because she's moving around real quick and those things had to ride up. But in the end, Wesley gave a cardiac kick to Mello. And Wes is still pissed. He feels like he's been jaded. He feels like he's got to get stuff right. And he wasn't. So maybe he will be doing something with Carmelo Hayes. I am not thinking about Trick Williams. I will talk about in a minute. Final thing I'm going to talk about. Oh, well, 2 things. 3 things. Let me do that 3. First, I'll talk about Roxanne having a video package, talking about what happened when she got home before the show, before the match, and after the match. It was okay. The question is, what are they going to do with her now? I don't know. Now, Gallus versus the family that got their asses kicked in the beginning of the show, and someone called for help. And that was Tony D'Angelo. And I had this feeling, would they actually call him? Because there's only one person Tony will call. And I knew when he said there's only one person I know that I can call that will help us. And it had to be Santos Escobar. Because he's very popular at this moment. He's going for the U.S. title. I am not surprised they called him up. Well, called him back up or down or whatever you want to call it. Up, down, whatever. I knew it was him. And there he was. A guy that should not even be on the roster. Another guy again who's exclusive to SmackDown. SmackDown. Another wrestler that's not a free agent gone to SmackDown. And we had a basic match that felt clunky. They were trying to do trio stuff. They were trying to do backs. They were trying to do fights. And it felt clunky. Mostly due to the fact that Santos Escobar has not worked with either Stacks or Tony in a while. So he looked like he was off. And then Tony was off. And then Stacks was a little off. The one that looked the best was Stacks. It's not that he's my favorite wrestler, but he looked the best out of the three. He has been developed the most. But I think Tony's my favorite. In the end, I'm not surprised the family won. I'm not. But I'm like, again, they had to call someone up from the main roster to come back down there. That just proves, if no one thinks that this hasn't been decided by the brass in the back, who's Vince, that he wants to do whatever he can to do something against AEW. And understand, I review AEW, but I critique it more than just Alex does, and I do it more than JD do. I am way more critical of them because I look at every bit of what's going on. So I'm not saying I love it more than I love WWE. Right now, I check WWE, I check Impact Wrestling, and AEW, and I'm as fair as possible on all three of them. But it is obvious Vince wants to do whatever he can to screw over AEW. Whether they deserve it or not, particularly that they're screwing up their own women's division and they haven't done anything, that's up to you guys. You can say if you like the women's division or not. That's your choice. Finally, the vid that we got in the very beginning of the show, and that was, well, we got two. One from Ilya Dragunov and one with Trick and Mello. Let me give it to you like this. Ilya made it very clear because Trick made it obvious he's not done with Ilya. He's going to get respect. So Ilya made it very clear. You made your decision. Fine, I'm going to end you. I'm going to make you misery. I'm going to destroy you. That was basically what he said. But what made the most for me personally, that I've said this for a while, that Trick sooner or later will have to be on his own. Someone decided it's time. Whether Trick is ready for it or not, if Trick is going to get over or not, it's time. He's been a heel for more than a few years, and now it is finally time for Trick, who made it very clear, Trick and Metal Game will always be together. We'll always be there. You know I'm always in your corner, but it's my time. I got to go off on my own. The people think that I'm a sidekick, and Melo made it clear, dude, you know I don't see you as a sidekick. He said, I know you don't. I know you see me as your equal. This Trick and Metal Game, I know. But they see me as a sidekick. It's time for me to be me. I got to do this myself. And basically, doesn't mean it's over between them, because I'm sure Trick is going to come in sooner or later to help out Carmelo when he needs to. But they gave a good hug, and they're done. So the one good thing that came from this show, the one good thing that's a big question, is now Trick Williams. Trick is now going to be on his own, and now we're going to see if Trick can sink or swim, as they said. Because this is the biggest question. The guy can talk. He's a good hype man. But now he's got to get himself over. Now he's got to get his opponent over. He's got to make his mic work, his ring work, the way he tells a story in the ring. He's got to do it now. This is on him. If he fails, it's going to look bad and he will end up in catering. But this is just me. This was a pissed off show that wasn't exactly great. And I know I can talk about Von Wagner and Braun Breaker. I'm going to leave that for next week because it's already done. They're going to have the match next week. There's no build. So I'm leaving it. The vid pack didn't mean shit. They're doing the match now instead of waiting. Peace.